Have you ever felt it? A sense of being walled in. A feeling that you are living a life that was designed by someone else for someone else. You follow the instructions, you obey the signs, you walk the designated paths. You do everything you are supposed to do, and yet a quiet, persistent question echoes in your mind. Is this all there is? Is this life truly mine? We are born into a world of rules. Don't touch this, go that way. This is right, that is wrong. These rules are like stones laid down by generations before us to create a path. They are meant to keep us safe, to provide order, to give us a map for a confusing world. And for a time, they work. We learn the map, we walk the path, we find a strange comfort in its predictability. This world of stone is a garden of sorts, but in this garden nothing grows. There are statues of trees carved with perfect detail. There are sculptures of flowers, their stone petals forever frozen, unable to wilt but also unable to bloom. It is a monument to stability, a museum of what has been. Our role, we are told, is to be the caretaker, to polish the stone leaves, to sweep the gravel paths, to ensure that every single piece remains exactly as it was left for us. But a human soul is not made of stone. A part of you yearns for color in a world of gray. You start to notice the cracks in the statues, the dust that settles no matter how often you sweep. The perfect order begins to feel less like safety and more like a cage. The rules, which once felt like a guiding hand, now feel like chains. You look at your own hands and wonder if they were made for more than just polishing the works of others. This is the first, crucial moment of awakening. The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche saw this struggle. He understood this deep human ache for authenticity. He looked at the world and saw countless people living as caretakers in these stone gardens, dutifully polishing values they never chose. They followed moral codes and traditions not because they were true for them, but simply because they were there. They had inherited their definition of good and bad like a piece of old furniture, never asking if it truly fit in the house of their own soul. The pain of this existence grows. It's the quiet desperation of a job you hate, a relationship that stifles you, or a path in life that feels utterly meaningless. It is the feeling that you are playing a role in a play you did not write. You start to resent the stone. You resent its coldness, its rigidity, its unending demand for conformity. The very rules that were meant to provide comfort now feel like the source of your suffering. This leads us to the central question that so many of us face, whether we say it out loud or not. When the world you inhabit feels like a prison, when its values feel hollow, and its rules feel like chains, what do? Do you continue to obey, hoping to find peace in obedience? Or do you raise a hammer and in a fit of desperate rage declare that some rules were made to be broken? The answer is not as simple as choosing one or the other. We are told that breaking rules is the act of a rebel, a troublemaker. But what if it is something more? What if it is a necessary act of survival for the soul? Nietzsche challenges us to go beyond the simple idea of good and bad that we have been taught. He asks us to consider where those rules came from in the first place, and more importantly, who they truly serve. This is not a call to chaos, but a call to courage. The feeling is universal. The artist who feels constrained by tradition, the entrepreneur who sees a better way to do things, the individual who questions the social customs that everyone else takes for granted. It is the nagging sense that your own potential is being suffocated by the heavy blanket of expectation. You feel a new energy rising within you, an energy that doesn't want to polish the stone anymore. It wants to know what lies beneath it. So you stand in your perfect, lifeless garden, and for the first time you see it for what it is. Not a sanctuary, but a cage made of other people's ideas. The air is still, the silence is heavy, and the weight of a decision presses down on you. The path of the caretaker is clear, safe, and deadening. The alternative is unknown, dangerous, and terrifying. What happens when you stop polishing the stone and finally pick up the hammer? This is the first and most common trap, believing that freedom is found in mere destruction. In a burst of liberating anger, you swing the hammer. You smash the stone statues of the trees. You shatter the petals of the stone flowers. Each impact feels like a victory. You are breaking the rules. You are tearing down the old world. You are finally, thrillingly, free from the obligation to be the caretaker. The sound of shattering stone is the music of your newfound liberty. The dust settles. You stand breathing heavily in the center of your work. But what is left? The garden is gone. In its place is a field of rubble, twisted, broken shards of stone. It is not a new world, it is simply the old world in pieces. You have successfully destroyed, but you have not created anything to take its place. The cage is gone, but you are now standing in a wasteland. There is no path, no shelter, no meaning. This is the great misunderstanding of rebellion. Breaking rules for the sake of breaking them is not freedom, it is a reaction. It is still allowing the old rules to define you, but as their opposite. You are still dancing to their tune, just in reverse. The person who blindly rejects every tradition is just as chained to that tradition as the person who blindly accepts it. True freedom is not about opposition. It is about transcendence. It is about creating something new. Think of the teenager who rebels against their parents by doing the exact opposite of what they say. Their choices are not their own. They are merely a reflection of their parents' rules. They have not found their own voice. They are just shouting no in someone else's language. This reactive state, this smashing of idols without creating new ones, is what Nietzsche called nihilism, the state where the highest values devalue themselves. It is a dead end. You wander through the rubble of the garden you destroyed. The initial thrill of destruction has faded, replaced by a profound emptiness. You are free from the old rules, but you are also free from purpose, free from direction, free from meaning. This is a dangerous place to be. It is the chaos that comes after the old god has died, but before a new one has been born. It is a cold and lonely freedom, the freedom of a ghost in a ruin. Many people get stuck here. They successfully break out of the system, but they never build a new one for themselves. They define their lives by what they are against, not by what they are for. They are the eternal critic, the perpetual rebel, the one who can deconstruct anything but construct nothing. They mistake cynicism for wisdom, but pointing out that the stone flowers were lifeless is easy. The real challenge is learning how to grow a real one. The flaw in this approach is the belief that freedom is an absence of rules. But a life without any rules or values is not a life of freedom. It is a life of drift. Imagine a ship without a rudder. It is free from the tyranny of a single direction, but it is at the mercy of every wave and every gust of wind. It cannot choose its destination. It is simply tossed about in the chaos. True freedom requires a rudder that you have built yourself. This is why so many attempts to break free fail. We leave the soul-crushing job only to feel lost and unproductive. We leave the restrictive relationship only to feel aimless and lonely. We have successfully performed the act of saying no to what we don't want. But we have not yet learned the far more difficult and far more important art of saying yes to what we do want. We have cleared the land, but we have no seeds to plant. The rubble of the stone garden is a testament to this flawed strategy. You are surrounded by the evidence of your power to destroy, but there is no evidence of your power to create. The old world is broken, but a new world has not begun. This is the moment of crisis, but also the moment of opportunity. It is only when you are sitting in the ruins, with the hammer lying useless at your side, that you are finally ready to discover the true path to freedom. The silence in the ruined garden is different now. It is no longer the oppressive silence of conformity, but the empty silence of meaninglessness. You look at your hands, the same hands that held the polishing cloth and the destructive hammer. You realize that neither action brought you the life you yearned for. One was the slavery of obedience, the other was the slavery of reaction. Both were defined by the stone. You have not yet defined yourself. This is a turning point that many modern movements miss. They are powerful in their critique, powerful in their protest, powerful in their ability to tear down old, unjust structures. But they often fail to offer a compelling, life-affirming vision of what should be built in its place. They hand us a hammer but forget to give us the blueprints and the seeds for a new garden. And so, we are left standing in the rubble, wondering what comes next. The common trap is believing that the opposite of a bad rule is no rule. But Nietzsche would argue that the opposite of a bad rule is a better rule. A rule that you choose, a value that you create, a law that you give to yourself, born not from resentment of the old, but from a powerful love for the new potential within you. The goal is not to become lawless, but to become your own lawgiver. So you sit. The wind blows dust across the ruins. The anger is gone. The thrill is gone. All that's left is the stark reality of your situation. You have proven you can say no. Your whole being now aches for something to say yes to. This is not failure. This is the necessary emptying, the cleansing of the slate. You had to destroy the false garden to realize that your true purpose was not to be a caretaker or a demolisher, but something else entirely. The world tells us to find our passion, to find our purpose, as if it is a thing that is lost, waiting to be discovered under a rock. But this is another trap. It encourages passive waiting, not active creation. You could search the rubble of your broken world forever and never find it, because purpose is not something you find. It is something you build. It is something you grow with your own hands in the soil of your own life. The despair of the wasteland is the final stage of the old way of thinking. It is the consequence of believing that freedom lies outside of you, in the breaking of external things. The journey forward does not begin by looking for something else to smash, or by trying to piece the old world back together. It begins with a turn inward. It begins when you stop looking at the rubble around you, and for the first time, look at the potential within you. And in that quiet, desperate moment, something shifts. As you sit in the ruins you have made, you feel a new sensation, not in the world outside, but in the world inside. You unclench your fist, a fist that has held nothing but a hammer, and you feel something in your palm. It is small, it is warm, and it is pulsing with a gentle energy. It is a seed, a single living seed, and you realize this is what you have been searching for. This is the turning point. This is the great pivot that Nietzsche's philosophy offers us. He tells us that after we have been the camel carrying the weight of old duties, and after we have been the lion destroying the old laws with a sacred no, we must become the child. The child is the symbol of a new beginning, a sacred yes. The child does not fight the old world or mourn it. The child creates a new one. The seed is your own will, your own unique potential, your deepest, most authentic instinct for what your life could be. It is not a rule given to you by society, religion, or tradition. It is a value that grows from the very core of your being. And in this moment, you understand the real task. Your purpose is not to break rules. It is to create the conditions for this seed to grow. This brings us to the central thesis, the key that unlocks a new way of living. True freedom is not found by breaking rules for the sake of it, but by becoming strong enough to create your own. The hammer was a necessary tool to clear the space, but it is not the tool that will build your future. The true tool of freedom is this seed, and your willingness to become a gardener for your own soul. Suddenly, the rubble around you looks different. It is no longer a wasteland of despair. It is a field of opportunity. It is broken ground, ready to be cultivated. The broken pieces of the old stone rules are not just debris. They can become the foundation for something new. They can be the grit and mineral that your new values will grow from and around. You have not just destroyed a prison, you have prepared a field. Nietzsche saw this as the ultimate act of power. Not power over others, but power over oneself. The power to overcome the inertia of the past. The power to endure the chaos of the present. And the power to give birth to your own future. This is the journey of what he called the Übermensch, or overman. Not a superman, but a human who has overcome their own limitations and become a creator of values. The task is now clear. You must plant this seed, but it cannot be planted in polished stone. It cannot grow in the air. It needs soil. It needs you to break the ground, to get your hands dirty, to do the hard work of cultivation. The act of breaking the rules now has a purpose. You are not smashing for the sake of smashing. You are breaking ground for the sake of planting. This is a profound shift in perspective. The rebel breaks things because they hate the cage. The creator breaks things because they love the seed. The motivation is no longer resentment, but affirmation. It is a deep and powerful love for the potential life that you want to bring into the world. This love gives you the strength to do the hard work that destruction alone could never accomplish. Think about the entrepreneur who breaks the rules of their industry. If they are motivated only by a hatred of the old system, they will likely fail. But if they are motivated by an overwhelming love for the new product or service they want to create, they will have the resilience to overcome every obstacle. They are not just tearing down, they are building up. They are planting their seed. The old values, the stone statues, were cold, hard, and universal. They demanded the same thing from everyone. But your seed is unique. It is a living thing. It has its own needs, its own path of growth. To cultivate it, you cannot follow an old instruction manual. You must learn a new skill, the ability to listen to your own life, to pay attention to your own deepest instincts, and to respond to what this new, growing thing asks of you. This is the beginning of true self-knowledge, not the psychological analysis of your past and your traumas, but the active, forward-looking discovery of your potential. What makes you feel strong? What expands your sense of life? What does this seed within you need to grow? These become the new, essential questions. Your life is no longer about conforming to an external standard, but about creating an environment for your internal truth to flourish. So the age of the hammer is over. The age of the gardener has begun. This is a quieter, more patient, and infinitely more powerful role. It requires strength, yes, but also tenderness. It requires courage, but also wisdom. You have found your true calling, not to polish the dead relics of the past, nor to live in the rubble of their destruction, but to cultivate the living garden of your own future. This pivot changes everything. The world is no longer a finished museum to be maintained. It is not a battlefield for angry rebellion. It is a garden to be grown, and you are no longer a cog, a prisoner, or a demolitions expert. You are a creator. This realization doesn't solve all your problems overnight, but it gives you a new compass, a new direction, a reason to get up in the morning that is truly, authentically your own. Nietzsche's challenge is not an easy one. It is, perhaps, the most difficult task a human being can undertake. It is the task of self-overcoming, of becoming the author of your own life. It means taking full responsibility for creating your own meaning in a world that often seems meaningless. But the reward is the greatest one possible, a life that is truly yours. With the seed in hand and the ground prepared, the real work begins. The journey from this single point of light to a flourishing garden is the story of a well-lived life. It is the process of turning philosophy into reality, of turning potential into actuality. It is the illumination of a new path, a path with no map but the one you draw as you walk it. The first stage of this new journey is to understand what nurtures your seed. Nietzsche reminds us that what is good for one person may be poison for another. The stone garden failed because it assumed one size fits all. Your garden is unique. You must experiment. Does your seed need more sunlight or more solitude? Does it thrive on intense challenge or gentle consistency? You become a scientist of your own flourishing. This process requires honesty, brutal honesty. You must be willing to admit when something you thought was good for you is actually stunting your growth. A prestigious career, a certain lifestyle, even a relationship, if it causes your seed to wither, you must have the courage to change the conditions. This is not selfish, it is essential. You cannot give a great gift to the world if you have not first allowed your own gifts to grow. Nietzsche speaks of amor fati, the love of one's fate. This does not mean passive acceptance. It means loving everything that happens to you, the good and the bad, because it is all fertilizer for your garden. The harshest sun, the most violent storm, the driest drought, these are not punishments. They are challenges that force your seed's roots to grow deeper, its stem to grow stronger. You learn to welcome adversity as a tool for growth. As the first real sprout breaks the surface, it is a moment of incredible joy and vulnerability. This is your first creation, your first tentative value made real. It is small, fragile, and utterly your own. It needs protection. The world is full of people who will try to tell you it's wrong, that it's a weed, that you should have planted a stone flower like everyone else. Your job is to shield this nascent life. This is the true meaning of breaking rules. When a rule or a societal expectation threatens the health of your growing plant, you must break it. not with anger but with the quiet, firm resolve of a gardener protecting their work. You say no to the world's demands, not out of rebellion, but out of a sacred yes to the life you are cultivating. This is a targeted, purposeful, and creative act of rebellion. The old values of the stone garden were about good versus evil. Your new value system is about what is life-affirming versus what is life-denying. Does this choice, this action, this belief make me and my potential grow stronger, healthier, more vibrant? Or does it weaken me, diminish me, make me wither? This becomes the new, simple, and powerful metric for all of your decisions. You are no longer judging, you are cultivating. You will find that the broken pieces of the old stone statues are useful. Your plant's roots can wrap around them for stability. You can use them to build a wall to protect against the wind. You do not have to reject everything from your past. You can repurpose it. You can integrate the lessons of the old rules, the discipline you learned as a caretaker, and use that strength to serve your new, living purpose. This journey can be lonely. When you start cultivating your own garden, you step off the common path. Others may not understand what you are doing. They are still busy polishing their stone trees. They may see your patch of strange, living color as a threat to their gray order. Finding the strength to continue on your own path, trusting your own process, is an immense challenge of character. But then something amazing happens. As your plant grows taller, stronger, and more beautiful, its uniqueness begins to shine. Its color and light can be seen from a distance. Perhaps someone else, another caretaker in another part of the stone garden, sees it. They see your living flower and realize for the first time that their stone rose is dead. Your courage to create your own values can become the inspiration for others to find their own seed. Remember, the goal is not to convince everyone to plant the same flower as you. That would just be creating a new stone garden, a new dogma. The goal is to live in such a way that you inspire others to find their own unique seed and plant their own unique garden. The ultimate vision is a world not of one single, perfect garden, but a world of millions of unique, vibrant, and interconnected gardens, each one a testament to a creator's courage. The process of growth is slow. There are days of doubt, days when the plant seems to wilt, days when the gray uniformity of the stone garden seems tempting in its simplicity. This is the struggle. Nietzsche emphasized that a meaningful life is a difficult life. The joy is not in the absence of struggle, but in the overcoming of it. Every time you nurse your plant back to health, you become stronger. You learn that your values are not static things to be written in a book. They are living things. They grow, they change, they adapt. The flower that blooms today may be different from the one that blooms next year. To be a creator is to be in a constant state of becoming. You are not building a finished monument. You are tending to a dynamic, evolving ecosystem that is your own soul. As your garden begins to flourish, you realize you have created more than just plants. You have created a new environment. Bees, representing new ideas, are attracted to your flowers. Birds, representing new opportunities, come to rest in the branches. You have created a living system that begins to interact with the world in a generative, life-affirming way. Your inner work starts to have an outer effect. The greatest act of breaking the rules is the creation of a new, better rule for yourself. For example, the societal rule might be to accumulate wealth. You might break this by choosing a new rule, to accumulate experiences or to cultivate deep relationships. You have not descended into chaos. You have ascended to a higher, more personal form of order. You have replaced a dead rule with a living one. This illumination is ongoing. Every day is a new lesson in gardening. You learn about the soil of your own history, the climate of your current circumstances, and the nature of your unique seed. Life is no longer a set of instructions to be followed. It is a creative project. It is your great work of art. And the purpose of your life is to make that art as beautiful, strong, and authentic as you possibly can. Consider the nature of courage. The lion's courage was to destroy. The child's courage is to create and to nurture in the face of uncertainty. It takes immense bravery to plant a seed when you have no guarantee it will grow. It takes courage to protect it from the world's cynicism. This is not the loud courage of the battlefield, but the quiet, persistent courage of the gardener, who shows up every day to tend to what they love. The old rules gave you a clear identity. You were a caretaker. The new path requires you to build your identity from scratch. You are defined not by your role, but by your actions. You are the one who nurtures growth. You are the one who brings color into a gray world. Your identity is no longer a static label, but a dynamic verb. It is found in the continuous act of becoming yourself. You learn to celebrate small victories, the first leaf, the first bud. These are the markers of your progress. The stone garden offered no such joy, only the monotonous satisfaction of maintenance. The creative life is filled with these moments of genuine, earned joy. Each one is proof that you are on the right path, that your work is bearing fruit, however small. These moments are the fuel that keeps you going. This path requires reevaluating your relationship with failure. In the stone garden, a crack was a failure. In your living garden, a plant that dies is not a failure. It is data. It teaches you what not to do. It enriches the soil. You learn, you adapt, and you plant again. Failure is no longer a judgment on your worth, but an integral part of the creative process. It is the compost for future success. The ultimate goal is to create a value system that is so deeply your own, it feels as natural as breathing. You no longer have to consciously think about breaking rules. You simply act in accordance with the life that is growing within you. Your choices flow effortlessly from this inner source. You do not need an external law book, because you have become a living law unto yourself. This is the essence of what Nietzsche meant by master morality. It is not about dominating others. It is about achieving mastery over yourself. You are the master of your own garden. You decide what is a weed and what is a flower. You set the standards. You define the terms of success. You are the source of value in your own world, no longer a slave to the values of others. This new perspective changes your relationship with others. You stop judging them for polishing their own stone statues. You understand their need for safety and certainty. But you also stop seeking their approval. Your validation comes from the health and beauty of your own garden, not from their applause. This is a state of peaceful, powerful detachment. The living values you create have a different quality than the old stone ones. The stone rules were rigid, brittle, and cold. Your living values are flexible, resilient, and warm. They can bend in the wind without breaking. They can heal when they are wounded. They are rooted in the joyful, affirmative power of life itself, not in the fearful, negating power of dogma. This journey is the answer to the feeling of being walled in. The walls were never truly on the outside. They were the internal walls of unquestioned beliefs, inherited values, and the fear of creating your own path. By cultivating your inner garden, you are not just breaking the rules, you are dissolving the walls from the inside out. You are creating a world so vibrant it can no longer be contained. You will find that strength is not about hardness but about vitality. A stone statue is hard, but it can be shattered. A living tree is softer, but it can heal and grow. Nietzsche teaches us to seek the strength of life itself, adaptive, resilient, creative, and ever-expanding. This is the power you are cultivating within you, the power of your seed to become a forest. As your garden grows, it will develop its own unique beauty. It will not look like anyone else's. It may be wild and chaotic. It may be simple and elegant. Its beauty comes not from conforming to some external standard of what a garden should look like, but from its authenticity. It is beautiful because it is a true expression of the unique seed from which it grew. This process requires patience above all. You cannot force a seed to grow faster than its nature allows. You cannot demand a flower to bloom before it is ready. The modern world tells us to hack everything, to find the shortcut. The gardener knows there are no shortcuts to real growth. There is only the patient, daily practice of providing the right conditions and trusting the process. The rules you break become less and less important. You stop defining yourself by your opposition to them. Your focus shifts entirely to what you are building. The memory of the old stone garden fades, not because you destroyed it in anger, but because you have built something so much more beautiful and alive that the old world simply becomes irrelevant. You have outgrown it. True freedom, you realize, is an inner state. It is the freedom to choose your response to life. It is the freedom to define your own values. It is the freedom to dedicate yourself to the growth of your own potential. A person can have this freedom in a prison cell, while another can lack it in a palace. It is not about your external circumstances, but about the relationship you have with your own soul. As you become a master gardener, you learn to see the seeds in others, even when they cannot. You see the dormant potential in the person who is still dutifully polishing the stone. You don't try to force them to change, but your very existence serves as a quiet, powerful question. Your aliveness calls to their aliveness. The joy of this path is not in reaching a final destination. There is no perfect garden to be completed. The joy is in the process itself. The joy is in the gardening. It is in the feeling of soil on your hands, the thrill of seeing a new sprout, the satisfaction of overcoming a challenge. Life becomes a creative act, and the purpose is to engage in that act as fully as possible. The rules of the stone garden were created out of fear, fear of chaos, fear of the unknown, fear of life itself. The values you grow in your garden are created out of love, love for your potential, love for the future, love for life itself. You have replaced a system based on fear with a system based on love. This is the most profound transformation of all. You finally understand. Breaking the rules was never the point. It was just step one, clearing the land. The real work, the real rebellion, the real act of freedom is the quiet, daily, courageous act of cultivation. It is the choice, made again and again, to turn away from the dead stone of the past and toward the living seed of your future. This wisdom, unpacked, is a blueprint for an authentic life. It is a call to move beyond mere critique and into active creation. It is a challenge to take the fragments of a broken world and use them as the foundation for something new, something alive, something that is uniquely and beautifully your own. It is a journey from being a creature of circumstance to being a creator of meaning. The illumination is this: the universe is not waiting for you to follow its rules. It is waiting for you to introduce a new form of life, a new song, a new color. Your personal growth is not a selfish act. It is your primary contribution to the cosmos. By cultivating your own garden, you are adding to the beauty and diversity of the whole world. And so we arrive at a moment of profound clarity. Let us see the entire journey at once. We began in a gray world, a garden of stone, polishing the lifeless rules of others. We felt a deep unease, a sense that we were made for more. This is the call to awaken, the soul's first cry for freedom. Then came the trap of rebellion, the rage against the stone. We picked up the hammer, believing freedom was in destruction. We smashed the statues, broke the rules, and tore down the cage. But in our reactive anger, we created not a new world, but a wasteland, a field of rubble, empty of life and meaning. We mistook chaos for liberation. But it was there, in the depths of that nihilistic despair, that the real turning point occurred. We stopped looking outside for something to destroy and looked within. And we found it, a single living seed, the seed of our own potential, the starting point of a new way of being, based not on opposition but on creation. Armed with this seed, our entire purpose shifted. We were no longer caretakers or destroyers. We became gardeners. The act of breaking rules was given a new purpose, not to tear down but to break ground, to clear a space for new life. We began the slow, patient, courageous work of cultivating our own values, tending to our own unique growth. And now look, the garden has flourished. It is not the perfect, sterile order of the stone garden, nor the empty chaos of the rubble field. It is a new reality altogether, a vibrant, thriving ecosystem of your own creation. Life has conquered the stone, not by obliterating it, but by growing through it, around it, and out of it. It has turned the fragments of the old world into the soil for a new one. This is the synthesis. This is the aha moment. The rules were not made to be broken. They were made to be overcome. Overcoming is not just destroying, it is destroying and then building something better in its place. It is the act of using the old, dead law as the raw material for a new, living value. It is the ultimate creative act. You finally see with perfect clarity. The goal was never to be free from rules. The goal was to be free to create your own. This is the profound difference between a runaway slave and a founding father. One is defined by what they fled from, the other by what they are building. You have made the journey from one to the other. So let's restate the thesis in its most powerful and complete form. The lifeless rules of the world are not a cage to be endlessly rattled, but a foundation to be broken through. True freedom is the difficult, joyful, and lifelong task of cultivating the garden of your own unique values, and in so doing, becoming a source of new life in the world. Your life is this garden. Every choice you make is an act of planting or weeding. Every challenge you overcome deepens the roots. Every joy you experience is a flower in bloom. You are not just living a life, you are creating one. This is the grand and terrifying and beautiful responsibility that Nietzsche has handed to us. The sound of the hammer is long gone. The silence of the stone garden is a distant memory. The only sound here is the gentle hum of a world that is vibrantly, unapologetically alive. This is not the end of the journey, but the true beginning. You are no longer a follower of rules. You are a creator of worlds. Now let's bring this journey home from the world of metaphor to the world of your own life. The stone garden is not a fantasy. It is the set of expectations you live with every day. The shoulds, the musts, the supposed tos. It is the pressure to conform at work, in your family, in your own mind. It is the path that feels safe but soul-crushingly familiar. The hammer is your frustration, your desire to quit, to leave, to say no. It's a vital energy, but as we've seen, on its own it is not enough. Smashing your life into pieces without a plan for what to build next is a recipe for despair. We have all felt this impulse, the desire to burn it all down and walk away. But the seed is the most important part. The seed is that quiet, persistent thing you have always wanted to do. That secret interest you're embarrassed to talk about. That business idea you think is crazy. That kinder way of being you've always aspired to. It's that small, warm flicker of authentic desire that you have been ignoring for far too long. To become the gardener is to take that seed seriously. It means making one small, concrete choice to nourish it. You don't have to quit your job and smash your life today. You just have to clear one tiny patch of ground. Read one page of that book. Write one line of that song. Have one honest conversation. Plant the seed. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. The most vibrant garden begins with a single seed. The creation of a new life begins with one small act of courage. It is not about a grand, dramatic revolution. It is about a quiet, daily evolution. It is about shifting your focus from what you are against to what you are for. So I will not leave you with a list of things to do. The world has given you enough lists, enough rules. Instead, I will leave you with a single, transformative question. A question to carry with you, to live with, to let it sink deep into your soul. It is the only question that truly matters on this path. Ask yourself this with radical honesty. What is the single most life-denying stone rule in my world right now? What is the one should that is making my soul wither? And more importantly, what is the one tiny, beautiful, terrifying seed of my own truth that I could plant in the space I create by removing it? Do not rush to answer. Just hold the question. Let it work on you. The answer may not come as a lightning bolt, but as a slow, quiet dawn. The answer will be found not in thinking, but in doing. In the small, consistent, courageous acts of gardening your own life. Your answer will be the garden you grow. This is your great work. This is your rebellion. This is your art. To take the life you have been given and to make it day by day, choice by choice, into a life that is truly, authentically, and beautifully your own. To become the person you were meant to be before the world told you who you had to be. You have the hammer, You have the rubble, but most importantly, you have the seed. The choice of what to do next, as always, is yours. The entire cosmos is waiting to see what you will grow. Do not disappoint it. Remember that the most radical act in a world demanding conformity is to authentically create, to choose growth over safety, to choose life over stone. Your own flourishing is the greatest gift you can give to the world. It is a testament to the fact that even in the hardest ground, life can find a way. The path is not easy, but you are not alone on it. Every creator, every artist, every true innovator throughout history has walked this path. They have all stood in the ruins of the old world and found the courage to plant a single seed. You are part of that noble lineage. Let the world polish its stones. Let it cling to its dead certainties. You have a different calling. Your work is with the soil, with the water, with the light. Your work is the work of life itself. Go and plant your garden. The world does not need more caretakers of the past. It needs more creators of the future. It needs your color, your song, your unique and unrepeatable life. The courage to create your own values is the final and most important freedom. We hope this journey has helped you find the tools to begin.